We're now joined by Andre Zanotta. We're here in Seattle, but ahead of this Austin game as we start to preview it, Andre, first of all, thanks for joining us. Second, we're talking today as it's announced that Ricardo Pepi is an MLS All-Star. We saw him become the youngest player to score a hat trick. We've seen him rack up 8 goals so far this season. Maybe that number's even changed by the time people are watching this. Fingers crossed for FC Dallas fans. But what's it been like to watch this player's evolution, a player who I think really represents what FC Dallas is trying to accomplish and sort of personifies the model?
Yeah. Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here, to talking to you. And as you said, Pepi, we're really excited about how things are going. When I got here, Pepi had just signed with North Texas, so he's a player that really believes in the pathway that we're developing here in FC Dallas. Each and every single step of his career, he's done with a lot of passion, a lot of support from his parents, from his agent, and now it's just incredible to see how he matured at just 18 years old. Really excited. We're all really happy. I guess you guys saw the video that Gina's team did in the locker room. So it's really amazing to see that moment, and Pepi has still developing, still growing, is still gonna become better and better. So it's great to see that. I've been and throughout my career I've seen so many good talents, and Pepi's one that is really amazing to watch.
I wanted to ask you a bit about those talents because, Pepi just signs an extension, and I think people maybe who don't know what it's like to sell a player like Neymar to Barcelona like you did, which I guess is probably everyone watching this, might not understand that not only does the contract, keep Pepi in Frisco if that's the path, but also gives the club some flexibility to maybe get the most out of him in the future and maybe feel a certain way about when the right time to sell a player like that is. What is, kind of help us understand why the contract extension is important, both kind of short-term and long-term?
First of all, I think the contract extension, and since I got here, we've done with the several players, and Jesus, Paxton, Reggie, Reynolds, Pepi, and it's important. First of all, it's a recognition of the players, what the players giving us back. So at a certain point, I believe, and this is something we as a club, we understand that the player, he reached a level that what he's given back to the team, to the club, he deserves a better compensation. So he needs a better contract. So and obviously on our side, it's important we are protected. So all those players that I mentioned, 2 of them are not here anymore. And so we have a lot of speculation, especially from Europe, clubs interested and agents calling, not only to us, to his agent, to the family, and we want to be protected. Just as you said, we find the right moment, if it comes, to sell a player. As obviously Pepi is one of them. There's a lot of interest from European clubs, a player at his age scoring as 8 goals so far in the season. As you said, hopefully by the time they're watching, we have more goals added to that. So I think it's a credit to the player for what he's doing on the field, and he deserves a better salary, just a better package, and also for our protection, and also for the players and family protection to have a guaranteed contract like he does for 5 years now. And I'm sure that he can stay here for much longer, or we don't know what's going to happen in the next year or so. But I think we're in this way. We are the club. We are protected, and we together with the player, we can find a good moment to transfer him.
I wanted to ask also about some of the buying, some of the players that you guys have brought in. I know that one of the first things that you mentioned when you arrived was kind of overhauling the scouting network in a way. If I'm not mistaken, at the time, you were trying to find 2 good scouts in South America and 1 in Europe. Mm-hmm. First of all, is that still kind of the setup? And second, some of the players who have come in from South America perhaps are still adapting. We've seen Jader Obrian, Freddy Vargas maybe struggle to adapt and are not part of the at least right now, the starting front 4 that FC Dallas is putting on the field, which, has led to consecutive victories as we record this. What needs to happen for those South Americans to have success? Can those guys specifically grow? And FC Dallas is a team that has a history of bringing in really talented South American players. That's where your expertise lies. Can fans expect that perhaps there will be other players from that region in future seasons who hopefully will make an impact, like a Mauro Diaz, like a Fabian Castillo, and so many others that FC Dallas fans have rooted for over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, yes, we have our scouting. We have 2 scouts in South America and 1 scout in Europe. They keep tracking different leagues and sending us reports about players that we may aim to bring in the future. Those players that you mentioned, each player is a different case. There's a different history, there's a different background and family involved, and they might take a little bit longer than others to adapt. Some of them, like Facundo, it's another player that came from South America, and he fits in right away, and he's doing what we were expecting him to do. Pico and Freddy Vargas and Hader, they're younger. They're doing well in their clubs. So and obviously we speak to them. We understand it's different the way it's played here in the MLS than what they were used to. So it takes time. I wasn't here, but I heard Mikey Barrios took him 6 months to 1 year to adapt to the league and really start showing what we all got used to see Mikey doing. So I think it's a normal process, and obviously we're going to keep South America as a big market for us. I know well that market, and I think we can always find, and not only FC Dallas, but the league has shown that you can find so much great talent from South America, and but it's on us to try to help the player adapt as quickly as possible and just get get the best out of them, sure, so they can help the team as we expect.
Fans are getting ready for the game against Austin FC today. How does it kind of change the panorama, or does it, for FC Dallas to have another MLS team in Texas, one that, in a lot of ways I think are trying to replicate what you guys have done in the youth academy when you look at the kind of Aspire Academy connections from Qatar and sort of matching those connections in an American context? I know they've enjoyed kind of looking at what you guys have done and maybe are trying to replicate that some, but also, from the first team, some of those players from South America, it seems like they're, scouting quite aggressively as well. We saw Miss Andrusi recently. How does it change things, or does it, with the third MLS team in the Lone Star State?
I think it's great. I love having another team from Texas, from the capital of Texas, and I think they started well with as you said, I know their emphasis in the academy as well. They want to build a strong academy, which is always good. I think new teams come in, especially in Texas, to keep growing the game in the state of Texas, to keep growing the game in the country. It's fantastic. So hopefully they are always behind us in the table, but I hope they do always a good job. We created this year during the preseason the La Copita, which I think was something. Hopefully it becomes a tradition in Texas soccer. And it's good to have now 3 teams from Texas. It's going to create a rivalry among all 3 of those teams, and I think just the fans are going to enjoy it, and the league in general is going to benefit from it.
Help us understand the relationship between you, Luchi Gonzalez, and ownership, especially as the season progresses, because I think it's easy to think of your job as sort of, okay, you're working hard in the summer transfer window, and then you're not, and then you're working hard in the January transfer window, but I know you're a pretty busy guy. You stay busy throughout the year. Kind of help us understand as the season progresses, and especially a year like this year where things didn't start like fans hoped, like you guys hoped, and now seem to be going in the right direction a bit. What are the day-to-day things like? What are the conversations you're having with the other figures in the club and with others that maybe we don't even think of?
Since I got here, just the support I have from ownership, it's fantastic. It's amazing. Clark and Dan. Then speaking to other GMs, sporting directors in different clubs, I feel very lucky to be in a club with such a strong presence from the owner, and especially Dan, who's on a daily basis with us and helping with this. And Luchi, he knows the club for so many years, and being in the pathway from academy to now being the head coach, And so we speak a lot, and it's really feel like a family. We feel like a sentiment of being part of a family, and I just, and people just on my side, they feel my role is basically just try to contracting stations, signing players, just releasing players, and it's way much more than that. We're taking care of the physical department, health department. So I'm involved in every single logistics. So I participate in every single thing involved in the overall soccer operations, together with Marco Ferruzzi, which has a very important role in the staff with me, and so I don't know what to say more, but I think it's a very good relationship we have in the club.
We know you have a lot going on. I'm not accusing you of just sitting around and just selling players. I know it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, but we hear a lot, and that's a discussion even back in Brazil. Fans usually they claim like, oh, you didn't. This player didn't do well. You didn't, and our job is not limited to that. And I know, but usually fans are not very used to that.
Oh, of course, they want to see the wins on the field, and so far they're starting to see some for FC Dallas this summer. Andre Zanotta, Technical Director of FC Dallas, really appreciate you joining us today. Best of luck to you guys going forward. We'll go back into the studio. I believe it's me, so a very handsome host, Shirley, waiting for you back in Dallas. Talks.
Thank you.